What is up, A1A fam? All kidding aside, it seems to be that we have a dilemma on our hands, and I'm talking about our GSP. Yes, the green star polyp. Is the culprit this gorilla crab that keeps growing and damaging everything in its sight? Like the tail fins of my favorite fish over here? Or could it be the peppermint shrimp? I don't know. But we are going to experiment since I have this second saltwater tank which is being used right now as a fish hospital for my night sergeant with the big tail nip. And what we are going to do is remove it from the big tank and put it here in this little tank. So I just turned the lights back on as I get home from work and noticed that the GSP is flopping and flailing and wailing, pretty much coming off the rock, but the rock was for the fourth time this week on the bedding of the sand on the bottom of the tank. Not good. Now this is the third time I've woken up this week where nothing other than one of the larger hermit crabs is big enough to flip this rock that it is secured to and glued, which now the glue is exposed on the very bottom of the GSP, or the gorilla crab. Now this thing is a beast. It's at least quadruple, if not grown 5 times its size since we got it in on our live rock from the fish store as a hitchhiker. Yeah, it was a hitchhiker, which I have other crabs that are the same size as this, which are about 1/4 of an inch round, and this thing is now about 4 inches in diameter. That's big. So in the meantime, we are going together experience and experimentation with this new little tank. I'm going to remove the GSP out of its original BioCube tank here. Let's take it out. Because of the frequency it's knocked over, it's starting to dislodge itself from the rock, which right here is where my thumb is where the glue is starting to be exposed, and it's still growing in other parts because I do put, as you can see, the new growth of it, which is a little bit more gray. It's still spreading around the rock, trying to keep up with its deterioration from its tank mates over here. But I think it's because I'm giving it, a good amount of calcium, and I put phytoplankton in about 2 times a week. So it feeds what is live and left, still trying to thrive pretty well. Come to Papa. Let's dry you off over here. Cleaned you up the other day too, so that was nice. Was able to get some little bit of green algae growth off of that. As you can see in my other videos, keeping your frags clean, which isn't the title of it, but it's one of our videos of just, is your GSP not growing? Check that video out. So I'm going to go ahead and place this GSP with the rock, of course, in our new tank, which does have moderate flow. It does have an aerator, which is not typical of our saltwater tanks, and it does receive some flow from the filter. So this night sergeant never had any previous habits of picking at these rocks or the coral. It's fed very frequently. Plus it's not 100% up to par because if you see its tail, it's a little bit handicapped at this point. So under the assumption it poses very little to no threat to this GSP right now. But I'm also going to have to add a little bit of my usual alkalizing buffer pH to the tank, as well as I'm going to add a dash of the phytoplanktons too, and share you which brand that I've actually been using on the frequency. So my fishy friend, you will have another guest in here. You may remember this rock, if you recall. A little piece of home right there for you. Don't freak out. Yeah, there's not too much flow in here, so I don't know how extremely well this will do. It does get several hours of light throughout the day, so we'll see how this is going to turn out. We're all going to find out together with this soft coral. Please work. All right, time for you to go back to sleep. Good night. Recently been using the alkaline 8.3P, the KH buffer by Brightwell Aquatics. This has worked out well for me. And per directions, I'm going to add some scoops. I'm at it. Let me go ahead and feed you. Salt water. I mix it with the... Go ahead and mix it up a little bit. Make sure most of it dissolves, which in most cases it does. That little clumpy piece must have been exposed to a little bit of moisture. That's why it's clumpy, but no worries. All back up and put it back into the tank. And that is one of my steps for feeding the coral and making sure it keeps growing, as it has from a very tiny frag, so I hope this is not the end of it. This should be fun. Now I do keep this stuff refrigerated. This is Dr. G's phytoplankton. Got to give it a nice shake to get the stuff off the bottom. All right. And I usually do measure it, but we're going to go ahead and just throw a little swig in there. Perfect. That'll just dissolve. And hopefully this coral, once again, is going to not bounce back, but just remain thriving, because it's looking a little rough right now. And one positive thing about this tank is that it's a little bit smaller, so when growing corals, it is pretty successful in growing them in smaller tanks. It gets a little more nutrition, and the coralline isn't developed in this tank, nor is any algae, so 99% of all of that nutrition will go straight to this GSP. Of course, if the fish decides not to pick on it. So this is going to be a short little vlog in trying and attempting to save my soft coral. So if you do have a GSP or any soft coral in any of your saltwater tanks, make sure you follow this. If you have watched our other GSP videos, make sure you do like and subscribe to make sure you're updated, because I have been taking a lot of pride in this little gem for a while, as well as my other saltwater aquatics. So make sure you like this video, please. Subscribe to this channel, and as always, keep it adventurous. A1A fam, A1A Adventures. Why are you whining? Why?